Hey, my name is Wayne Botha. In this video I will introduce Agile and specifically the role of Scrum Master. Let's get into it. I realize that this text is going to be very dense with a lot of information. You are free to stop the video at any time and absorb the information that I'm providing. This is directly from the agilemanifesto.org, and I'm going to start by explaining the Agile Manifesto so that you can get a context of how Agile and Scrum is different from traditional waterfall methodologies. So in 2001, the Agile Manifesto was written. The Agile Manifesto for Software Development says, "We are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it. Through this, we have come to value, first of all, individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan." And so to understand the context of the Agile Manifesto, up until 2001, developers were following a waterfall methodology which led to a lot of emphasis on processes, contracts, and any changes to the plan were very cumbersome, including requiring change controls and sign-offs. Now, in 2001, when a group of developers got together and said, look, there has to be a better way to do this, they came out with the Agile Manifesto. And the thinking behind the Agile Manifesto is that the focus of your teams needs to be on writing software, not on the process and documents and various handoffs between teams. So the whole approach with Agile is get the teams together that are actually writing the software, let them work collaboratively all the time and have as little handoffs and sign-offs between teams. All right, let's go through the 12 principles behind the Agile Manifesto. Number 1, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. And that is really the driving force behind Agile, is to focus the teams and their energy on producing valuable software that meets customer needs, not creating status reports, not creating PowerPoints, not checking and double checking and triple checking business requirements, but to have software that actually meets customer needs is the real value in Agile. And I've actually seen these principles applied in other fields as well. For example, in instructional design, that is now also starting to use an Agile methodology, and also in delivering infrastructure projects. Number 2, welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. Instead of trying to stick to the original plan, it's in the business's best interest for the developers to accommodate changing needs in the software, because that's what the software is ultimately intended for, is to provide a competitive advantage. Number 3, deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference for the shorter time scale. Right now, as I'm making this recording, the de facto standard is 2 weeks for every sprint, because 2 weeks gives you enough time to actually produce some valuable software, and also it's short enough duration that the team can make course corrections. Number 4, business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. You want your developers and your business representatives, for example the product owner, to be working together every single day to quickly answer questions and make any course corrections if there are small changes needed for that working software. Number 5, build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. With Agile, we build projects around motivated individuals. Number 6, the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face communication. And now that's easier than ever before with webcams and video conferencing. It's much easier for team members to collaborate across geographical locations. All right, let's move on. Number 7, working software is the primary measure of success. Not PowerPoints or status reports, but working software. And when a team is measuring progress, The simple acid test to always ask is this working software? Because if it's not working software, then it's not a valid measure of progress. Number 8, Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. In typical software development projects, you've got business analysts writing the requirements, developers developing code, then testing, and then finally production environment. And often what happens is the project slips and the timeline gets crunched when it gets down to testing in timeline, which then means that everybody has to work ridiculous hours to try and get the testing complete before it goes into production. Or else you have to make that production date slip so that you can complete the testing, correct any defects. That is not sustainable and is not fun for anyone involved in the final stages of the software development program. Agile says stick to the sprints, stick to the routine of having a program increment, and that will allow people to have a constant pace indefinitely. Number 9, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Your architects need to write the software so that it can be agile. So using microservices instead of a monolithic application is one example of where a good design enhances agility. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. Everywhere along the process when you're developing software, everybody should have top of mind of, is this work necessary? If it's not necessary, try to not do it, because the amount of work that you don't do is what makes the project go faster and is simpler. Number 11, the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. As I've said earlier, when you hire a lot of smart people with master's degrees in computer science, and they are at the forefront of developing that working software, that team will come out with the best designs for that solution. Not somebody else in a headquarters busy designing an architecture for the entire company and then handing off that architecture to the team to go and build the code. And then number 12, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective and then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. The most common way of reflecting on the work and how the process is going is through retrospectives at the team level at the end of every sprint. Now this is from the scaledagileFramework.com. This is how SAFe, or Scaled Agile Framework, implements the principles. This is not the only implementation of Agile principles, but this is currently the most widely accepted implementation of the Agile Manifesto and principles. And I just want to focus really on one role in this, which is the Scrum Master. There's many other roles, and if you go to scaledagileFramework.com, there are interactive maps which list out the details and the responsibilities of each role. I just quickly want to touch on the role of Scrum Master, because this is the role that's most often the first thing that comes to mind when people hear of Agile. So your Scrum Master's role is to ensure that the team follows the Agile processes, and the Scrum Master facilitates the ceremonies, your sprint planning meetings, the retrospectives, daily stand-ups, and so on. The Scrum Master coaches and guides the team as a servant leader, meaning that the Scrum Master really tries to protect the team from outside influences and at the same time giving guidance on what the team should focus on. The Scrum Master tries to provide everything that the team needs to continue working. Now, a Scrum Master sometimes needs to combine expertise in schedule management, resource management, stakeholder management, financial management, and scope management. I say sometimes because I've seen that the Scrum Master in some implementations does not need to do all of these things, and in other implementations the Scrum Master is responsible for all of these activities. And then finally, the Scrum Master assists the Agile release train role players, including the RTE, in attending Scrum meetings and helping with PI preparation and possibly with the post-PI activities. And so to wrap up, I hope that this information is helpful to you. gives you enough of an understanding that you can learn more on your own around Agile and specifically the Scrum Master role. Thank you.